As we are set to enter the second half of the season for the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge this weekend, the drivers not only face the usual stiff competition in the two separate classes, but also one of the most challenging circuits of the season and one of the fastest in all of North America. Welcome to round 7 of the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge in 2024 from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, just outside Toronto, Bowmanville, Ontario, Canada. And what a racetrack since 1961. Competitors have flocked here, challenging, fast, like a roller coaster. One of the fastest circuits the drivers face all season long. Some good passing zones here and also some very, very fast corners. Turn 1, one of those diving down into turn 2. You won't get a pass done in turn 5, but you will get a good run down the back straightaway to turn 8. Maybe get the job done there through 9 and 10, and you'll finish a lap here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, also known to the stalwart sports car fan as Mostport. Welcome in, everyone. Brian Till with you along with Jeremy Shaw. And Jeremy, what a day here as we start the second half of the 2024 season. The weather absolutely gorgeous. Race 1 of 2 of the weekend coming up next. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to another tremendous race. We've had a whole bunch this season. We've had 6 races, as you suggest, already this season, out of the 12. So going into the second part of the season. And the championship chases, yeah, they're both, well, one of them's fairly wide open. The other one, quite not so much. In LMP3, Stephen Largacani's got a pretty handy lead over Miguel Villagomez from Ecuador, who's not here this weekend. So that would put Agacani in an even better position. He will start from the pole position today. In second position on the grid as the cars leave the pit lane for their formation lap. Second on the grid will be Jagger Jones. Jagger did not take part in the first round of the season at Daytona International Speedway with the Fast MD Racing with Remstar team, but since then he's been well, perfect actually. 4 pole positions, 4 race wins. He was fastest yesterday in the practice sessions, but when it came down to qualifying, all of a sudden the car picked up an understeer which he couldn't get around and nearly as fast as he wanted to, so has to start second on the grid today. So Jagger Jones will be looking to at least to get his win streak back on track, even though his pole streak finally is broken. He also did a couple of races last year, so he was absolutely perfect in all 6 races, 6 starts, 6 poles prior to today. In GSX, that's the GT4 cars, again, a pretty good championship lead for Luca Mars in the Ford Mustang, but he will start back in the 4th position on the grid today. And instead, another Ford Mustang making its debut this weekend, and that's Jack Polito, a youngster from Lindsay, Ontario, Canada, a local driver using his local experience. He qualified second, but on the pole position once again is Jesse Lazar, second in the championship, only 120 points behind Luca Mars, and it will be the McLaren of Jesse Lazar for Motorsports in Action, Canadian team, that will start from the pole position.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jeremy. You talk about the Ford Mustangs in the hands of Polito. You look back, Luca Mars, who sits well up in the championship. He's actually the leader in the GSX category. Struggled a little bit in qualifying. He starts back and forth.
He does, and yeah, particularly the fact he's behind another Ford, he won't like that. But you know, that track knowledge. I mean, you talked about it before. I mean, this is a classic racetrack, and Jack has got a lot of experience around here in various different cars, particularly in sports cars. He's a champion already in Canada in the FEL series north of the border, so he knows his way around here, and he used it to good effect yesterday in qualifying.
Well, you talk about track knowledge. That is the key, especially at a racetrack like Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It is so fast, so flowing. Calvin Fish and I were talking about it the other night at dinner, and I said it reminds me of a short oval in like an Indy car. It is so fast that the driver, he's got to hold on, but the car has to be underneath him. If you don't have a good car here, you're not going to have a good result. 2 classes, the LMP3 class and the GSX class. The LMP3 class, the prototypes, GSX, as you said, Jeremy, the GT4 base cars lining up for the start now. Safety car is in, the pace car is in. Agacani in that silver and turquoise colored Ligier chassis on pole. Jagger Jones outside in the black Duquesne. Interesting, Jeremy, will Jagger Jones be able to hold on to the outside around turn 1? We'll find out. We're racing at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
He's going to give it a go. Look at that. Around the outside goes Jagger Jones. Yeah, it's a fantastic move by the youngster from Scottsdale, Arizona.
Massive confidence for Jagger Jones to make that move around the outside. But think about the championship. Stephen Agakani certainly is. Coming into the weekend, Jeremy, he said, with Jagger Jones missing Daytona, we are in a good spot. It's about winning the war, not just the battle each time out. He's thinking championship, and I'm pretty sure he was looking at turn one that time saying, I am not going to throw it away right here, right now. Jagger Jones, if he wants the lead right now, go ahead and take it. Second place is going to do what I need in the championship.
That's right, a 510-point deficit for Jagger Jones coming into this round because he missed the first race of the first weekend of the season, which is 2 races, and is 350 points up for every race win. So that put him in a big hole so far as the championship is concerned. But as you say, he's all about wins here, and he was really surprised. Spoke to him after qualifying yesterday. All of a sudden, that understeer came from kind of nowhere. The car was perfect during the practice sessions earlier in the day, but in qualifying, he was just pushing in each of the corners. He couldn't get the power down, and he didn't get the lap time that he wanted, but that was a brilliant move. I mean, it's all or nothing for Jagger Jones. That move around on the outside, he was the one who was in danger, because if Agakani kind of leant on him going through that first corner, it would have been Jagger on the outside and with a bigger problem. But it was a great, a bold passer, and Jagger Jones it is who leads, and Agakani, as you say, looking for the championship in second position, very comfortable at the moment.
Ran some numbers this morning, Jeremy, and if Jagger Jones wins the rest of the races, he's been perfect so far. Stephen Agakani really needs to finish 6th or worse, I believe, for Jagger Jones to get the championship, so it just kind of gives you an idea of what Agakani is sitting on. But difficult for a race car driver not to push and want to win races. I know Agakani wants to, but he has to temper that enthusiasm a little bit. And as you said, for Jagger Jones, it's all or nothing. And right now, it's all. He's laying it all on the line. Agakani in second as they go through turn 8, looking back into third. Woolridge, with good experience around Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, holds down the 3rd place. Ryan Finney having a good run as well.
Yeah, another local driver, Jonathan Woolridge from Whitby, Ontario, literally just down the road here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. So he's got a lot of time around here, primarily in Formula Ford cars or F1600 cars. He finished 3rd in the Canadian Formula Ford Championship in 2020, was 2nd in 21, and since then he's gone on to have success in GT3 Cup Porsches, in Radicals, you name it, he's done it. So he's using that experience to good stead this weekend, and running 3rd for the Performance Tech Motorsports team, ahead of his more experienced teammate Alex Kirby in car number 7.
In a blue 38 dives through turn 4 and up into turn 5, Moss Corner, onto the back straightaway. Kirby just behind in the white and silver number 7, trying to find a good run off that corner, perhaps use the draft a little bit down the back straightaway. But Woolridge, as we said, good track knowledge here, and as these Michelins come in to temp and pressure, Jeremy, it's going to be interesting to see how the balance stays for Jagger Jones with that understeer he had yesterday. This is a very different racetrack in the cool of the morning.
Yeah, it is, and I think he was pretty comfortable yesterday morning, so he's hoping the same is going to be the case today. There is a 4th place car of Alex Kirby. He's had a pretty good season so far. He started off, however, with his best result in the opening round of the championship. That was at Daytona International Speedway. He finished 2nd to Agakani. That remains his best result. Since then, his best has been a 5th last time out at Mid-Ohio last month. So Alex Kirby looking to get back on the podium again, and to do that, he's going to have to catch and then pass his Performance Tech Motorsports teammate Jonathan Woolridge.
Good run up front for Jagger Jones right now. Agakani, Woolridge, Kirby, and Thenis. But let's go back to the GSX category. Pass for 3rd just moments ago. Little bump and run, it looks like. The 78, that's green, into the back of the number 59 of Luca Mars. A little rub there coming off of turn 9. Gets the job done going into 10. Luca Mars will not be happy about that. And now that position's either been taken back or given back, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting, isn't it, to see perhaps what happened there. I think Josh Green was, I think that might have been on the first lap, actually, because it was Green, who was ahead of Agakani for the first couple of laps, and now, as you say, Luca Mars and Josh Green battling away there. And it might have been the first lap, maybe Josh Green a little bit surprised how soon Luca Mars was slowing down to get ready for turn 10, even coming through turn 9. So because otherwise you're kind of flat out through that left hand. I mean, it's not much more than a kink, is it, leading into that final corner? So that's where the contact occurred, and he was able to get through. But as you say now, Luca Mars, who is the championship leader in GSX, up into third position, and Josh Green chasing him. And we saw Josh Green made his debut in this category last time out at Mid-Ohio. A very good debut it was as well for the youngster from Long Island, New York. Couple of second place finishes.
Jesse Lazar leading in GSX right now. Sixth time, I believe, Jeremy, he was on the pole in this class. And Luca Mars, I don't believe, has a well-handling Mustang underneath him right now, Jeremy. Watching the car, seems very unsettled over the hill down into 2. And I think that's why Josh Green able to be as close as he is, and you see the rest of the field beginning to pull away. Lazar and Polito have kind of stretched that gap between second and third.
They have, and even now Luca Mars is he's put about 6 or 7 car lengths in between his Mustang and the pursuing phase competition Mercedes of Josh Green. That's one of the better battles. Another battle behind them is Moise Uretsky, who is in the 5th position in GSX.
Here's how Luca Mars retaliates down into turn 1, gets back past Josh Green after that little bump and run that we saw there coming out of turn 9 and into turn 10. So that's how Mars retook the position. But as I said a moment ago, Jeremy, 59 doesn't look settled now. It could just be that a few laps into this race right now, he doesn't really have good tires underneath him yet. We talk about pressure and temperature. If you don't have the pressure up just quite yet, car's going to move around on the sidewall of that Michelin tire until they firm up a little bit. So perhaps that's the issue that Luca Mars is dealing with. But for Jagger Jones up front in that black Duquesne number 87, as he dives down into turn 1, he's got a really good race car underneath him. We talked about the move at the start was confidence. You can have confidence when the car's working for you.
Yeah, that's right, and he's a young man with plenty of confidence, is Jagger Jones. I mean, he's a real potential star of this sport. Grandson, of course, of Parnelli Jones, who sadly passed away last month. That was a big loss to the sport. He had been, for quite a few years actually, the oldest living Indy 500 winning. Parnelli won it back in 1963. But Jagger Jones is a bit of a chip off the block. His father, PJ, also had a lot of success in a lot of different cars, particularly in sports cars, with the Dan Gurney's All-American Racers team. So Jagger Jones looking to follow in those big footprints, and he's doing a good job too. Just 21 years of age, and looking to keep that perfect streak going this season, at least in terms of wins. As I said, the pole streak was finally broken, but not the win streak yet, and that's what he is anxious to extend here this morning.
I think what's impressing me about Jagger Jones this season is not only the speed that we've seen out of him, but moves like that through traffic as they begin to work through the GSX category. This is how quick these LMP3 based prototypes are, how quickly they caught the back of the GSX field. It's just a good vision up ahead, a good read of the traffic. It's been, in my mind, kind of mature beyond his years. He doesn't have a lot of multi-class racing under his belt, but he seems to have taken to it very, very well.
Well, he does, doesn't he? And his background's been well, first of all, it was in stock cars actually, but then in open wheel, he was on the kind of the Road to Indy USF Pro Championships and worked his way up through that. Actually, did an Indy Lights race a couple of weeks ago at Mid-Ohio. So he's kept his options open through his young career. Yeah, despite the name, he does not come from a particularly wealthy background. So he's had to work hard to gain these opportunities, and Remy Lantain gave him an opportunity to drive this Remstar Duquesne towards the end of last season, and he's absolutely grabbed that opportunity with both hands.
I think it's opened a lot of eyes, and so has Stephen Agakani over the years. First in GT cars, now in the LMP3 based prototypes here in VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. Agakani, another one of these young drivers with a big future ahead of him. very fast in the car, very smart. We've seen him grow and mature over the past several seasons. And right now, the 2024 season, doing what he needs to do, fast on the racetrack. When Jagger Jones came in and he beat you at St. Pete, it would have been easy for a driver with less maturity to get upset by that, press too hard and make mistakes, but he didn't. Understood what the game was and has really put in some heady drives, doing what he needs to do. It's the championship that he wants to put on his resume at the end of the season. Yeah,
that's exactly right. He's kind of mixed and matched through his career so far. I mean, he's had a championship early on in Lamborghini Super Trofeo in the the AM class there, but this is he wants to be a full-on professional. He's raced in Italy. He's raced in the Italian GT Championship. He's done quite a few other races in different series in Europe as well, so lots of experience. But now this year, focusing on this LMP3 car, and as you say, championship is what Stephen Agacani wants. Another youngster, of course, even now he's still only 21 years of age. He was too young. When he first started off in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo, he was too young to compete in the first round of the championship, which made it awfully difficult for him to win a championship, but he ultimately did. He was just, you have to be 16 to race in that championship, and he was too young for the first races, but still only 21, but over his last 5 years has gained a lot of experience.
A lot of experience indeed. The thundering V8 in the back of the LMP3 cars as Jagger Jones heads down towards Turn 4. Should be flat. Bump in the braking zone right here. And difficult to control up there into Turn 5. Let's look moments ago, coming into Turn 4. Drops that left rear. Man, Jeremy, that was an impressive save up into Moss Corner. Dropped that left rear and spin. That's absolutely amazing. I think the hill kind of helped catch him there and get the 87 under control, but Jagger Jones out in front is holding nothing back.
Man, that was a save and a half, wasn't it? Golly. There's an off also for car number 72. That's Frank Depew. Has run off the road in there in the Rebel Rock Aston Martin. He just ran a bit wide at top of the hill in turn 3, trying to, I think, leave space for Jagger Jones to go through. Gets off on the grass, and it's still pretty slippery, the grass out there, and around goes Frank Depew. But boy, what a save that was from Jagger Jones. I mean, that was all commitment there. A little bit of luck involved as well, most likely, but as you say, all the factors have worked in his favour, able to keep it out of the wall and still extend his championship lead, his race lead. It's now almost 10 seconds over Stephen Agacani.
Well, and there we go back to think about the task at hand. He's doing everything he needs to do. Jagger Jones is, as he heads down the back straightaway one more time. And at some point in time, he needs to understand it doesn't matter whether it's a 10-second win at the end of the race or a second in hand at the end of the race. He just needs to be in front. Don't get over anxious. Don't press too hard. Don't make a mistake. You're where you need to be. You can't drive Stephen Agacani's car. Do what you need to do, and that's win the race. Don't make mistakes.
Brian, he's 21. He's going to go for the win. He wants to win by as much as he possibly can to make a statement. No, of course, you're absolutely right. He's out there pushing hard. He knows people are watching, and he wants to create the best impression he can. And if there's a slight mistake and he gets away with it and still pulls away on that one lap, that is pretty darn impressive. And that is exactly what Jagger Jones has been doing all season long in this, well, since after the first round, which he wasn't at, in this Remstar car number 87.
Oh, look at this. Brian Thenis pressing hard, gets too close to the GSX car in front of him, and that opens the door for Ryan Finney aboard the number 51 to pick up a position up into 5th. And that's just the closing rate in the brake zones, the prototype with the downforce on it versus the GSX car with less downforce. You can attack in that prototype, and I think Brian Thenis just misread the closing speed.
Yeah, he did. I mean, there's another old Asian treachery candidate is Brian Thenis. He's been around this sport a long, long time. He raced in the Toyota Atlantic Series 20-odd years ago, driving that Forte Racing Ligier car number 77. Made a good start and qualified well in 5th position. And he's going to try and track down Ryan Finney, who's well, a good bit younger than Brian, let's put it that way, and see if he could get back into that top 5. But at the moment, Thena's going to have to settle for 6. Meanwhile, coming up now to put a lap on the GSX leader, Jesse Lazare, who's still only just about a second ahead of that Ford Mustang of Jack Polito in second position. He's hanging right there, isn't he?
Indeed he is. Brian Till, Jeremy Shaw with you from round 7 of the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge Series. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park is Jagger Jones, the overall leader, working through GSX traffic up in turn 5, heads down the back straightaway one more time. Looking back to GSX, Jesse Lazare leads in his McLaren Arturo, but Jeremy Shaw, you just said it, Polito having a great run in his Mustang, and Luca Mars now seems to have a better car underneath him as those Michelin tires came in, so it'll be interesting to see if Luca Mars can claw down a little bit. He needs to get up in front of Jesse Lazare. He's got a lead in the championship right now, Luca Mars does, but he certainly doesn't want Jesse Lazare to win this race. That'll close that championship down very much.
Yeah, indeed, and you know, coming into this weekend, Luca Mars, he had a lead of 120 points over Lazare, but with 350 for a win and 320 for second, 300 for third, that'll almost halve the deficit for Jesse Lazare. So again, he's all about wins here. The last 4 races, he's had 3 victories and a third place finish, just to the 1 win of Luca Mars. So it's very much game on in that championship. But look, Jack Polito in that Ford Mustang, in the other Ford Mustang, is hanging right there with the race leader Jesse Lazare.
Yeah, impressive run by Polito, and I think traffic had something to do with Jesse Lazare dropping back a little bit and allowing Polito to close in, but you take it wherever you can get it, and this prototype traffic coming through the GSX field, as you see the number 18 of Minzen, he works through now. It's going to give and take as you go through, and sometimes as a GSX driver, you can let those prototypes by in places that aren't going to affect you, and other times it's going to affect your lap time. So it just kind of gives and takes as Minzen looks to the inside of Lazare. Lazare shuts the door, says, get me on the run to 4. I can't give you too much because I've got that Mustang just behind. GSX leader into turn 5. Jesse Lazare aboard his McLaren, and Polito just behind that Ford Mustang. That car has looked good all weekend long. You combine a well-handling race car here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Jeremy, with a driver who knows the nuances of this racetrack, and it's going to run up front.
That's right. I mean, Jack's only, he's only a youngster, very early 20s, but already quite a lot of success around here. And he was very excited about making his debut in the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge. The family has a fairly substantial Ford Lincoln dealership in the Toronto suburb. Lindsay, Ontario is where he's from. He's a champion last year in the GT4 series, the FEL series north of what it used to be called the Canadian Touring Car Championship. Prior to that, he's a many-time champion in snowcross, which is, I guess it's not snowmobiles, is it? But it's very close. But he's certainly a competitive young man, is Jack Polito, and he's going to give Jesse Lazare all he can handle for as long as he possibly can, hanging right there in second position in that super-looking Ford Mustang.
Yeah, this battle for the lead in GSX heads to turn 4, the diving left-hand corner, heavy braking at the end of it over the big bump. What I see right now, Jeremy, is Polito seems to have to use a little bit more of that Michelin tire to stay with Lazare just in front in the McLaren, and I wonder, with 25 minutes and change left to go here in this 45-minute sprint, how long those tires are going to hang in there. You look into the background, the next car back, the third car in line is Luca Mars. That's your championship leader in GSX. He's having a hard time clawing his way up for this battle for the lead.
Yeah, true that, but tire wear is certainly, tire degradation is an issue here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Did you see the slide by Mars coming off the turn 8?
He is absolutely on the limit, isn't he, Luca Mars? Last lap time was it was a 23.9 lap time around for Luca Mars. Almost identical lap times amongst the top three at that stage, but that's only, well, about a tenth of a second away from his fastest lap of the race, and with 14 laps already in the books, that's a good effort there from Luca Mars. He's pressing hard in that core Motorsports Ford Mustang.
Watch this replay of turn 8 last time by. That's a big slide. I mean, it wasn't nearly as big as Jagger Jones's slide that we saw in turn 5, but it was probably 60 or 70 miles an hour faster when it happened. That was a big catch by Luca Mars there in turn 8. Mars now out of turn 5 as we continue with VP Racing SportsCar Challenge from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Just over 24 minutes yet to go in the 45-minute sprint, and Jagger Jones working his way through GSX traffic down the back straightaway. From now on, you're going to catch 1 or 2 cars every lap. He's been by a lot of these cars before, so you now have some knowledge as to how the car in front of you is going to behave. The great thing about sprint racing, Jeremy, is you know the driver in the car in front of you. There hasn't been a driver change, so you know what those nuances are as he works now past Polito there in second in GSX. Jagger Jones putting on a clinic one more time. And it's interesting, Jeremy, he's aboard the only Duquesne chassis in the LMP3 field. And Ligier is well known, Duquesne a little less experienced. I'm surprised we don't see more of them because obviously it's a well-handling car.
Indeed so, and we've seen success from Duquesnes in the past in the old IMSA Prototype Cup Championship. But you're right, there's no other takers. They're all other than that one car. They're all Ligiers this year, but I would expect that to change for the 2025 season. This is just the second year of the VP Racing Sports Car Challenge, and so it's still growing in stature.
Good battle going on with Scott Blinn, that bright yellow Aston Martin, the number 45. He's got Angus Rogers just behind him in the gold and white Porsche. This is a battle not only in GSX, but in the GSX bronze category. And Blinn doing a good job right now of holding Angus Rogers off. Scott Blinn second in the GSX bronze driver category championship. Angus Rogers in third. Mark Drummond is not here this weekend. He's third in the championship. Angus Rogers is fourth, I should say. So expect Angus Rogers to move up in the championship by the end of this weekend. And this is a good battle, that bronze category, Jeremy, for drivers more like you and me, let's say, right?
Yeah,
but these guys are on it.
A little bit more life experience, that's exactly right. Yes. But for Scott Blinn, I mean, what a character. He drives that Ruckus Racing Aston Martin that's run by the Archangel Motorsports team, that bright sort of yellow and purple flashes on it, Aston Martin. And right behind him is Angus Rogers in the Porsche Cayman, so 2 completely different cars. But Scott Blinn he's gunning after this bronze championship. In the lead of the bronze championship points is Michael Dayton, who is a couple of positions behind. He's only about a second and a half behind Angus Rogers, but in his BMW, the Swish Motorsports car number 12, oops, that's a problem for Jesse Lazar.
Yeah, that's the leader in GSX, was your leader in GSX. That's going to move the 98 to the lead, I think, when we get the next timing line hit. Or was their involvement on the part of the 98 as well? I'm not sure they were close enough. Let's see if we can find out what happens to Jesse Lazar. No, the car just slows, Jeremy, coming out of turn 3. I'm thinking somewhere in between 2 and 3 there was the issue. Lazar pulls to the side, and I believe they're going to have to go get that. And we were talking about this earlier. It doesn't matter how big a lead you build. If the full course caution comes out, it's all going to go away. Hopefully, if you end up under caution, you've saved some Michelin tire for the sprint to the end.
Yeah, that's the hope, certainly, because that's really unfortunate for Jesse Lazar, and not good for his championship aspirations either, because we talked about it before. He was chasing down Luca Mars. He was 120 points coming into this race. Was looking for the maximum 350, but it's clearly not going to come this morning, and that's going to put him in a big hole in terms of the overall championship.
Yellow is out, full course caution, and Jagger Jones is going to see almost a 17-second lead go away, and Stephen Agakani can take a breath, get ready, and form a plan of attack when we restart. But once again, in the championship for Stephen Agakani, he's got to think, he's got to be smart, and Jagger Jones is going to have to put everything on the line one more time when we restart here once the stricken number 21 McLaren of Jesse Lazar has been removed from the circuit. And yeah, that is big in GSX in the championship, as you said, Jeremy, because Luca Mars, what do you think his emotions were when he drove past the 21 sitting there, driver's right at the exit of turn 3?
Yes. I mean, you never wish ill fortune on your competitors. Well, you do when you're going for a championship, however. Luca was doing the best job he could today. He was doing a nice job. I mean, he was only a second or so behind the other Ford of Jack Polito, but he wanted to be ahead of it. And now this is going to give him an opportunity to get onto even terms. And we're going to see those two Ford Mustangs battling for the lead in GSX. Perhaps this will bring Josh Green back into the picture as well. The Mercedes tend to be pretty good on their Michelin tires. The Fords tend to chew up their tires a little bit more as a generalization, if you like. We're now 25 minutes into the race, so the tires are definitely past their optimal, and it's a question now whether Josh Green can take advantage of that. Back at the front in LMP3, this is, as you say, Agakani was a long way behind, as you say, almost 17 seconds, and Jagger Jones has been lapping super consistently in a 1:13 range, even while he was passing slower traffic, apart from that moment he had down at Moss Corner, where he lost him a couple of seconds. But for Agakani, we've seen earlier this season, particularly at Daytona, he had to come from behind in the late stages, and it was after full course cautions that he was able to make his move in the closing laps of the race. We'll see whether he can do the same this morning.
Well, and this just answered my question. I was wondering if there would be a wave by or a wave around for cars that were in front of the GSX class leader, because there were several cars between Jagger Jones and Stephen Agakani at the end of the GSX category. They were just waved around. That gives Agakani a clear shot at Jagger Jones just in front of him on the restart. But let me now throw this at you. Ford wants to win this championship. They've got a Ford running 1 and 2. The championship leader is running second. There going to be any conversation between Core Autosports and Polito Racing of, hey, if you let the 59 by, it helps Ford out in the championship and gives us a bigger margin. What do you think Polito's going to say with his family, friends, and perhaps some dealership representatives here at the racetrack about, hey, let the 59 by?
But yeah, I mean, it's a great question, if it wasn't somebody making their debut in the championship, exactly, looking to win on home soil, and he wasn't 20 years of age, then maybe you might consider it. But I think probably the chances are unlikely. It's been a great run for Jack, and a really solid debut for him in this car, he'll be anxious, I think, to even though as a Ford Lincoln dealer, for the Polito family, I think no, thank you very much.
Yeah, I can tell you, if I were sitting in that seat, this is when I would have that strange radio failure and not get that message. Sorry, I didn't hear you. I think and I think the right answer is, you want it, you come get it, right?
Yeah.
On debut, I'm not gonna. I get it. We've got Fords 1-2 right now. It doesn't matter which Ford, potentially wins this race, as long as it's a Ford, and that helps in the Manufacturers Championship, where Ford has, I think, a 60-point lead right now in the championship. So it doesn't matter which one. It's going to help Ford out. It may help you out in the Drivers' Championship, but I don't care about your Drivers' Championship. I care about winning on debut if I can. It basically my home track in front of my friends and family, lights out on the safety car.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to green now. We're going to have, 15 minutes remaining in this race, so plenty of time for all sorts of things to happen. And in that GSX Manufacturers Championship, as you say, Ford holds a 60-point lead coming into this weekend, but is over McLaren. There's only one McLaren that was in this race, is now not. So it's going to be a poor score. They still get there's 6 manufacturers in a championship, and even if they didn't finish, they will get 6th place points. But it's still not the day that McLaren wanted, and it's going to cement or strengthen at least Ford's GSX Manufacturer Championship lead.
All right, it is on once again. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Jagger Jones picks up the throttle on that V8. His Duquesne chassis onto the front straightaway. Aga Kani, though, with a better run. Will he have enough to make a move into turn 1? No, thinks better of it. Jagger Jones leads. It's going to take a lap, get those tires right back to where they were, and Aga Kani all over the back of Jagger Jones at the exit 1, and Aga Kani with a little bit of a bobble at the top of the hill there in 2.
Yeah, he was. He certainly sensed that was going to be his best opportunity to make a pass while the tyres are not yet up to full operating temperatures. But Jagger Jones kind of wise to that. He certainly, if Jagger Jones had been looking in his mirrors, which he probably wasn't, then he might have been a little bit concerned. But he was focusing forward, making sure that his run through that first couple of corners is clean, and now he's got a 5 or 6 car lead as they head up the Marandradu straightaway that isn't.
I think for Jagger Jones, it's like focus forward, put in the lap. We've seen over the years, Jeremy, it seems like the Ligier comes to life quicker on starts and restarts, and I think we saw it just then. As soon as those temps come back up, and they'll come back up quickly on the restart. We were only down for a lap or so behind the safety car. As soon as they come back, Duquesne, in years past anyway, and I know that aerodynamics changed a little bit last year, but Duquesne seems a little bit better in straight line speed. So Jagger Jones certainly has a good race car underneath him. He's taken it to good advantage and pulled out that gap. And one more time for Aga Kani, take what you can get. It's the championship that matters.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Big picture thinking is what is required here from both of them. And I think for Aga Kani, he certainly made an attempt to go for the lead there, but Jagger Jones was having none of it, and Aga Kani is going to have to settle back into second. I think it's going to be awfully difficult now for Aga Kani to change that picture unless there's some sort of a mistake from Jagger Jones. And with 13 minutes exactly remaining in this race, they are certainly going to be lapping the GSX cars one more time, I think, before the end of the race.
Some debris on the racetrack as they head down the straightaway right there underneath the WeatherTech bridge, coming off of turn 5, and perhaps it's from Frank Depew, the number 72, damage to the left front fender as that Aston Martin heads through turn 4 to that turn 5 area. I don't know if it's from him or another car that he got in contact with, but you'll see the debris right across from the corner station that's showing the flag, just past it. You can see it right there as the cars come through, and it'll be interesting to see if they leave that there. It doesn't, if it's not sharp and it's not at risk of damaging the car or a tire, they'll perhaps leave that debris flag out for a couple of laps, inform the drivers that it's there, and then say, hey, we told you, and leave it there. So we'll have to wait and see. Jagger Jones, though, stretching that lead, Jeremy.
Yeah, indeed. 1 minute 13.6 last time out for the race leader. His fastest lap of the race was 1 minute 13.192. In fact, that last lap, that first lap after the green for Jagger Jones, that is faster than the best lap of the race by Stephen Aga Kani. So really making his point there. He pulled out almost 2 seconds on that first lap of green flag racing. Did Jagger Jones in the lead of this race for the Fast MD Racing with Remstar Duquesne.
This is not what Polito needs. And that's a prototype right behind him trying to probe and find a way through. Wisely kind of breaks in the middle of the racetrack there and says, not here, not now, I'll let you go down the straightaway. It's the number 18 LMP3 entry just behind him, Jordan Minzen, trying to work his way through. He hits the debris there. It was dimensional, and it looked like carbon fiber to me. It kind of shattered when Minzen went over it, Jeremy. Prototype, though, has cleared now, and it's clear sailing for Luca Mars to try to get back up there, but that's the give and take of prototypes and GT cars on the racetrack, right? It's about knowing when you can make the pass and when you can't, and we talked about this earlier. As a GSX driver, you can't give away the farm to let one by. Polito knows that he's got Luca Mars right there on his rear wing.
Indeed so, and He's still certainly got a battle on his hands here with still well over 10 minutes to go, so it'll be another 7 laps or so that Jack Polito has to hold on ahead of Luca Mars. Those two pulled right away from Josh Green at the restart. Not quite. Maybe there was some prototype traffic in the way that held up Josh Green in that Thays competition. Mercedes running in third position.
Big contact there. That's the number 37 with contact with the wall. Colleen behind the wheel of that Mercedes AMG, and that's coming into turn 10. Big contact with the wall, driver's right. You can see, I'm looking at skid marks, Jeremy. They come off of turn 9, go back to the left, impact with the wall, driver's left, and then it ends up driver's right. You can see a bunch of oil coming out the side of one of the exhausts there on the left side of the engine compartment. Let's take a look and see if we can see what happens. It's already happened when our camera picks it up, but a big debris field there, and you see all that oil just in front of the number plate. That car, significant damage to the left front.
Yeah, that's Eddie Colleen. That's a teammate to Josh Green, who's running in third position. From Buffalo, New York is Eddie Colleen, and that was a pretty hefty impact there, as you say. I think he lost it coming out of turn 9 and then hit the wall pretty comprehensively on the left-hand side of the racetrack, and the kind of momentum of that car took him back across the road into the wall on the right as well. So big impact there for Eddie Colleen.
There is a safety station right there on driver's left at turn 10. So track safety and the AMR rapid response team there very, very quickly, and that's always good to see. We talk about Canadian Tire Motorsport Park being challenging and unforgiving, and you see it right there in those results for Eddie Colleen. Just got wide, I believe, coming off a 9, Jeremy, and then hooked the car back to the left and made that contact driver's left at the entry to turn 10.
Yeah, it was just kind of an incident we see oftentimes, and it's a very fast corner there. It's turn 9. 8 and 9, I mean, they're not flat out in a GT4 car, but they're very, very fast. And if you perhaps clip that there's a little sort of apex curb on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of the racetrack, the apex of 9, you get on that, and that can easily throw the car off balance and turn it into a spin. And after that, you're kind of in the lap of the gods.
Yeah, I wonder if perhaps at the exit of 9, he just got a little loose with trying to get the power down, got a little oversteer, and it kind of headed back left and was never able to right it. We don't know, we don't have a great shot of it, but right now, AMR Rapid Response Team on site dealing with that incident. That's where the contact happened, and that concrete wall there, any concrete wall, is unforgiving, and then you see the debris field that slides back across the racetrack. So AMR safety team trying to do what they can do and take care of the driver. It's always great when a series like this, and you expect it from a world-class series like IMSA, with that rapid response team that's there with medical staff on board, and it helps them get to the drivers in situations of impacts like this and get that rapid response to the drivers, and that's what they need. Our thoughts are with Eddie Colleen right now. Hope he's okay. Field, meanwhile, back under full course caution, Jeremy, and with the debris field that I saw there, question is there any hope of getting this restarted?
Yeah, well, for Jagger Jones and Jack Polito, the respective leaders in LMP3 and GSX, they hope not. For Stephen Argicani in LMP3 in second position, and Luca Mars also in second position GSX, they very much hope that the track is going to be cleared up. And this AMR safety team, as you say, and the track services here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, I mean, they are absolutely top-notch. So if the first priority, of course, is to make sure that Eddie Colleen is okay, get him out of that Thays competition Mercedes, but at the same time, the track service will be working to get that track clear as well.
So track safety and AMR Rapid Response Team still on site there as the field. Right now, Jeremy, you know and your crew knows that time is running out, and so there are different mindsets in the cockpit of these vehicles right now. I'm sure Jagger Jones is on the radio as he comes by, and he's saying to his Fast MD Racing with Rimstar team, hey, you think we're gonna get this thing restarted? Can I loosen my belts a little bit and take a breath here, or do I need to stay tightened down, and might this thing get back underway? And for Stephen Agakani, he's probably on the radio with his MLT Motorsports team saying, we can get this thing going. We can get this thing going. It's like you said, two different mindsets of those drivers, whether you're leading or whether you're the pursuer. You're kind of looking at this thing two different ways.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you're both in the same race, but you're thinking entirely different things. It's fascinating. I mean, that's part of the psychology of this sport. I mean, it's absolutely fascinating. The emotions that the driver goes through, even during a race. And that's a perfect example of it that you've described right there, Brian Till. And you know, it's you have to keep your focus all the time, because at this stage, you have to assume that you're going to go back to green. And if that turns out not to be the case, okay, fine. But at least I'm ready to go if and when. I mean, it's not as if there's no warning, because there is warning. The drivers will be told probably about a half a lap before they go back to green, if indeed that is the case. So they'll have time to get themselves back in their head back in the game. But you want to keep your head in the game in any case. You certainly take a little bit of a mental breather during the full course caution, but you're still alert and ready to go as the time requires.
Ryan Till and Jeremy Shaw with you under full course caution from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. It's round 7 of the VP Racing SportsCar Challenge season. And time running out, closing down on 4 minutes, and with the length of a lap here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Jeremy, I'm looking at a restart as being doubtful. It was Eddie Killeen, big contact with the wall, drivers left at the entry to turn 10. The incident actually started at the exit of turn 9. AMR safety team, track services there tending to Eddie Killeen, but right now I've got to feel like this is the way this may very well end, closing down now on 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, and that's to continue the story we were talking about when the caution came out. That number 45 car, the Ruckus Racing Aston Martin, was Scott Blind, who's from Fenton, Missouri, suburb of St. Louis. He's leading in the bronze category at the moment, and looking to extend his lead in that championship. And actually, no, he's second, isn't he? Because Moise Uretsky, he's not a regular driver in this championship. Moise Uretsky in that baby bull racing number 44 Porsche, who's just ahead, a couple of cars ahead of Scott Blind. He is leading the bronze category, but Scott Blind is in second position, and he's trying to track down Michael Dayton, who leads the class coming into this championship. Michael Dayton in the Swish Motorsports BMW car number 12, just a couple of cars behind Scott Blind. He's got a 30-point edge coming into this weekend. So if they maintain their positions as they are right now, it'll be Moise Uretsky who gets maximum points in the Bronze Cup. Scott Blind will be second, and Michael Dayton will be fourth, and that will be enough for Scott Blind to take over the lead of the Bronze Cup category by just 10 points going into the second race of the weekend.
Yeah, looking at the clock, counting down now, Jeremy, closing in on 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 43.98 seconds was the last lap behind the safety car, so I would most certainly expect to see a white flag this time by at the line. And when you think about Jagger Jones, he came into this weekend, and indeed there's the white flag, Tawny Miller displaying that to the field. As he came into this weekend, and really for the rest of the year, he's got one job. And as a race car driver, you always have that one job. That's maximum points, maximum attack, and that's what Jagger Jones is tasked with for the rest of the season as he's trying to close down on Stephen Agakani. Unfortunately for Jagger, he makes it back around. He'll take the victory, but he'll look in his mirror and he'll see that silver and turquoise number 6 of Stephen Agakani. What does that do to you as you know the season is winding down with each event?
Yeah, look, Jagger Jones, he's just doing what he can, which is trying to win the race. Having not taken part in the first 2 races of the season, he's on the back foot in the championship, but he's just going to go out and try and win every race. That's exactly what he's done since he stepped aboard that Remstar car number 87 with the Fast MD Racing team. And 5 wins on the trot, that's making a statement, isn't it? Stephen Agakani will still have a very comfortable championship lead heading into the final race, 5 races of the season. Next one, of course, is tomorrow. But they're both doing exactly what they want to do. And for Jonathan Woolridge, this will be his second podium of the season for the local driver. That's exactly what he was looking for this weekend as well.
And talk about local drivers. Think about the emotion right now aboard the 98, the GSX leader. You come into a series, you're brand new, you know the racetrack, you know your car, but for Jack Polito and his team, this is going to be one heck of a day to remember.
Yeah, it is. He's done an absolutely superb job. I mean, he kept the pressure on Jesse Lazare all the way through the early stages until the McLaren failed on Jesse. And to come away with a debut victory says a lot about the team, the driver, and of course the car. The Ford Mustang 1-2 it'll be today. So it's been a perfect day for Jack. He couldn't have dreamed for any better than this. Just looking back to the LMP3 Championship, by the way, with Miguel Villagomez not here this weekend, he was second in the points coming into this round. So this will allow Brian Thenis to move from third in the points to second on unofficially 1,790 points, just 40 points ahead now of Jagger Jones, who will move up to third. Stephen Agakani, he's got a pretty handy lead. He'll have 2,260 points after today's 7th round of the championship.
Jagger Jones continues his perfect season as the checkered flag flies at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and you look at the season that young man has had, and it has been stellar. And he continues on that march, doing everything that he can to close down on the championship lead. But 5 wins in 5 appearances, and he continues the streak. In GSX, Jack Polito came in, a newcomer. He walks away in his first race with the big trophy, the win in GSX, and I'm sure big emotions behind the wheel of that GT4 Ford Mustang. There's a look at the unofficial results. Jagger Jones with the win, Stephen Agakani followed by Woolridge. As you said, Jeremy, a lot of experience on this racetrack for Woolridge, had good runs here yesterday. Ryan Finney with another top 5 run, and then looking back to the winner in GSX, Jack Polito, Mustang 1-2 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Yeah, indeed. In the bronze categories, Brian Thenis then will have the maximum points in the Bronze Cup in LMP3. And in the GSX, it'll be Moise Uretsky who brings that Baby Bull Porsche, number 44, home in the 12th position overall. Really good one for Moise. He will also be taking part in the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series this weekend as well.
One of the great things about VP Racing SportsCar Challenge, especially from the GSX side, same car that you run in Michelin Pilot Challenge. For some drivers and teams, it is the same car. Others have a different car that they run in MPC, but it's the same spec, so you can get a lot of track time on the weekend. Congratulations to the winners, all our podium finishers here in race number 1 of the weekend in VP Racing SportsCar Challenge. Thoughts to Eddie Killeen right now, and we talked about the safety team being there, taking care of him. He is in good hands. Great racing. We saw it all throughout today's event, and some great saves. Jagger Jones had one, Luca Mars as well. A lot of drama, a lot of excitement, and we'll see it again tomorrow as round 2 of the weekend continues here from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. For Jeremy Shaw, I'm Brian Till. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.